Hello folks, again my name is Tim, and this time we're going to try to tackle this old vintage Aiwa cassette player. This is a two-head deck. It's a double deck, and I normally shy away from double decks. But if you ever wanted a double deck, this would probably be the one to have. It's a two-head. They're two-head decks, of course. I don't know of any three-head twin decks out there. And generally, twin decks are shied upon because you're duplicating tape transports at a cost and a budget, and usually they're quite cheap and fail quite regularly. But I did a little bit of online research, and these ones were built very, very well. But the trouble was they're extremely complicated to maintain and repair. So I was looking for a challenge, and I picked this thing up for quite cheap because it wasn't working. They said and that's the other danger is getting something that somebody else has worked on that probably didn't know what they were doing. But they said they changed the original drive belts, and I looked at the belts. I already had this dismantled and everything, but when I dismantled it, I noticed that there's two tires that are supposed to be in each of these transport mechanisms. And one of the tires was this one. The other one was completely missing. And it's no wonder the thing doesn't work, even after a belt swap. So you can't forget the tires in these machines, because that's part of the mechanism that makes everything go round and round. So this one is very, very brittle, and you can see that it's split and everything. So what I did was I took a set of calipers and I measured it up, and then I ordered two sets of tires that are equivalent in size. I wouldn't say they're identical in size, but we'll see if we can make them work. And so with the calipers, I measured these things up, and yeah, may or may not work. So we'll try it anyway. This is from fixyouraudio.com. I gave them the dimensions. So the idler tire dimension is 14 by 19 by 2 millimeters, which is roughly what I had got with my calipers. And that was the closest size he had. So I might have to do a little bit of sanding down or whatever to get it to fit correctly. But they do stretch and should be able to fit where the tire was missing and where that one was broken. So I've taken the top off. A lot of the mechanisms, this is just barely in there, so the mechanisms do work. This one I haven't put fully back in because I knew I'd be pulling it back out again. So we'll get that working correctly. And yeah, let's see if we can breathe some new life into this thing. So once again, we'll go to time-lapse photography. I'm going to work on this transport first, and it does power up. I did some contact cleaner, deoxit, and all of the slider controls. In fact, I used fader lube for that because these are kind of like faders. And yeah, we'll see what makes this thing tick. So more to follow. Well, I forgot to say the model number. It's the WX220 Aiwa. I used to actually sell these decks back in the early to mid 80s. And we had a lot of them go through the door. I worked in a military PX, military exchange overseas in Germany. And we used to have all tax-free audio gear. So we had some really nice stereo equipment for tax-free for the troops overseas. And yeah, some of the really high-end gear that we used to sell there was pretty spectacular, pretty inexpensive compared to North American prices. So that's partly why I would like to rejuvenate this thing. It's a little bit of nostalgia for these old decks. I was even asked to be the Aiwa representative to stay overseas and work in Germany in the PX system, even the American PXs. But I elected to come back home and go to school and get a real career instead. So glad I did that. Anyway, we'll see what we can do here. Okay, now that I've got the drive mechanism out, you can see it. There's basically two screws on the top here, one, two that go in here that holds this in place, the transport mechanism in place, and then there's two screws on the bottom. You will have seen in the time lapse that I had the deck up on its side, and you undo the two screws on the bottom, and these are the tires this is the tire location. So here's the wheel right here, and this is the one where this was broken, and it was just laying here, and it was around this little nylon wheel right here. So I'm going to try and put one of these wheels on in situ without having to pull this little retaining nut or whatever it is, whatever you call them. And we're going to try and put this on in place, and that actually is what's required to turn the capstan. And the other one on this drive, it's identical drive, even though it's smaller screws that actually holds it in. The identical drive, but it was completely missing entirely. It was gone. I didn't even nowhere inside. So it's and then there's also two wheels down here. I don't know if I can get my light to show you. There we go. And you can see where the right here, these wheels in here, and those do your counter, and those are all rotted off. So I've got oodles and oodles and oodles of belts that I can use to hopefully resize the belts. I got smaller ones, obviously, for the counters, and hopefully we can find something that's a match to make those work and get all the counters and everything working properly. So I think they feed off of this deck here, because you can see the two wheels that are interconnected here, and then that goes down to the counter. So this would have a belt that goes inside the mechanism here to spin that, to in turn spin the counter. So anyway, you can see that this is a very populated set of boards. A lot of these orange caps, and that to me says danger, Will Robinson, but maybe we'll try to tackle swapping out all those orange caps as well. So I've got a whole bunch of cap kits that hopefully we can replace some of those, because they're notoriously poor capacitors, especially the ones that don't actually have a brand name on them. They're like the Nakamichi decks. So you swap those out, and then it should be back into tolerance for a lot of those circuits. So anyway, we'll see what we can do here. Well, holy smokes, I got a little bit further than I had anticipated on this thing. So what I did was I changed those two belts. put those on the idler wheels, put those on the missing, or the pulleys that were missing the rubber. And I got this deck working fine, actually works beautifully. And this one, I put it in and I push play, and you can actually see the gearing and motor running. And here you can see the flywheel and the motor spinning freely. And this one is C. So I think what I did when I installed this one is I pinched this on something, maybe a wire that's around it or something. So I'm going to pull that back out, put it back in, make sure this this flywheel is freewheeling, and that's because you can feel it when you push play. You can feel it actually trying to rotate, and then it meets resistance, and then it stops. So I think we're very, very, very close to getting this thing working. I'm quite shocked, as a matter of fact. But anyway, it's smelling an odor coming out of it, but I don't think anything's burning. We're going to take that other motor back out, figure out why this is pinching. I've turned the power off here. I'm turning the power off on the deck, and I'm simply shocked that, and then I listened to it on the headphones. I don't have it plugged into a stereo right now, and it sounds really good. So I'm very impressed that that was, I think, the problem. Okay, let's, and the belts seem to be good, because they did say they changed the belts, but they just didn't do the thing. But I haven't figured out the belts here for the tape counter, but that's minor. We'll see where that pulley gets feedback from, and I don't see anything overtly, because it should feed through, I think, into this motor. And when I pull it out, we'll have a look and see if I got a place there where that pulley is supposed to feed through. So let's take that second motor out and see what's going on there. Okay, I figured out what I did wrong, and there's two screws out here, so I put the two bottom ones in, put all of these ones in, and I didn't put these ones. So what was happening, I think, was it was sagging a bit, and this wheel was pinching on the bottom. When I took it off, there was one component in there that was quite hot, so I hope I didn't cook anything. Very amateur mistake, but oh well. Let's see. I've let it cool off a bit. It's now freewheeling. So what was happening was this wheel, because this was sagging a bit, was actually binding on the bottom of the tape deck. So hopefully I caught it in time and it didn't burn out or anything. But oh well, this was a very inexpensive experiment. So let's see if we can get this thing working. And of course, now the mechanism is not ejecting. Let's see what I need to make that happen. I see. That tape deck is not in close enough. Oh, I see. The set mechanism is full up. That's because I spun this. And I lined it up. So let's see what we can do. To get the tape into play there. I was rotating that wheel, and it rotated the transport mechanism up. So I'm hoping I can rotate it backwards and line it back up the other way. Might have to pull it back out again. That's unfortunate. Let's see if I power it up, if it'll do it itself. Nope, it started to, but maybe if I trick it into thinking there's a tape in there. Nope. Okay, back to square one. Was in fact the issue. So when I had pulled this out to make sure it was for freewheeling, I wheeled this flywheel here, and what it did was it moved the transport mechanism, the heads up into the play position. And so I took it back out, wound it back out. I suppose I could have done it in place, but I wanted to make sure that everything was correct. And now it seems to be, now it's ejecting properly, and the heads are in the stop position, and it seems to be working okay. So next we're going to try to play the tape with the headphones and the headphone output, and see if we're going to get some noise here, see if it'll actually work. So the flywheel is spinning, which is good. I'll turn the power on my test bench here, and let's hear the headphones on. Let's see if it's, oh, push power play, power's on. And it is playing, and we got sound. So as you see, you can see the level meters are working. These controls are a little sticky. And fast forward play, I gotta open this up, and I think I gotta clean out these controls. So it plays. Dolby works. Stop works, play works, but not, oh, now fast forward's working. I think it just needs to be exercised a bit here. Rewind isn't working yet. I'm going to have to go in and clean these controls. And sound is coming in nice, and it's playing right at correct speed and everything. Both decks are. So we're going to monkey with these controls a little bit, I think, on here, because they're a little bit sticky. You have to depress. I think they just haven't been used in years. Pause button doesn't work either. Fast forward works. And there we have it. So we'll do some work on the controls here. I think they're, yeah, these are a little bit off as well. These are the program keys. Music search program keys. So I think I'm going to just lay this with deoxit inside, take it off, lay it with deoxit, and hopefully play off there. And hopefully that'll get these controls working properly. More work to go, but the main part, which I was worried about, is the transports. They're working good. The belts are spinning fine. We haven't got belts yet for the, haven't sorted that out for the tape counter, but one thing at a time. Okay, look at that. That's what it was. It was all dirty contacts. So I just doused those contacts in deoxit and exercised them. And now it's fast rewinding right now. Fast forward, rewind, pause, the whole 9 yards is working. And same with these program and music selector switches here. They were quite sticky. And now I've got them all working. Still a little exercising. I'm going to probably remove this panel. But I've got them all working. You can see all the buttons there. Just needs a little more exercising and probably a better clean out from the bottom side. And then we're golden. So right now it's rewinding. Fast forward. I guess what I'll have to do is go get a patch cord to plug it into some speakers there so you can hear for yourselves. But I call this case closed. It's working good. Okay, what I've done is I've taken 2 RCA jacks to a mini jack on the back of this player. I use that for my test bench. It's just a Sony stereo basically in one component with line in, mini jack line in. So it's 2 RCAs to a mini jack into that player. And I put a tape in here, Dolby B. This is Tape Tech 2. And there we go, it's playing. Line up a level. Oh, it's Dolby B, so. There you go. This is Kate Bush. And we'll fast forward it. That's playing just nice. Okay, that's tape 2. Go over to tape 1. And where I did the belt, working good. As I say, I'll clean up these a little bit better. Better to do it from the underside than trying to leak deoxit inside. And once I get that, then I'm sure that everything's going to be hunky-dory. So, thank you for watching. You know, the belt changes on these are dead simple, and the tire changes, you know, once you pull the face out, the tire is exposed. You can see whether they're disintegrated or not. Change those. Make sure you know, if the deck's been sitting for years and years, that you clean all of the, you know, use fader lube for any of the faders and pots, and then use deoxit for any kind of switches. And these were all dirty when I was playing with it. I did some work off camera, and they were all noisy and everything, so I hit it with deoxit, and now they're all clean, so I'm not getting any crackling between switches. I think I need to do a little bit more on the controls here. I got them to work, but I have to push a little hard to make the contacts, and I just got a feeling it's just years and years and years of oxidization in these. So I've got all of the program select buttons working, everything Dolby B and C on both decks is working. I'm not sure. I don't think it's two separate circuits. I think they're just sharing the same circuit. It is a two-head deck after all, and even the line out and everything is working. I haven't tried any recording. I don't record on two-head decks anyway, so this is just for playing in my living room. So yeah, I probably could do a little bit more. I'm going to do some rubber restore on the pinch rollers inside. They're looking pretty brown and old and gucky, so I'm gonna hit it with some rubber renew and do a better job of cleaning. I didn't really clean the heads all that much, so it really needs a good cleaning. I can see a lot of oxides on the heads and the capstans. So still a little bit of cleaning, but you don't need to watch that. You can watch a million videos out there to show you how to clean heads and pinch rollers and rubber renew and stuff like that. The actual transports on this are, I find, easier than the Nakamichis. Like I've done a couple of CR3As and LX3s Nakamichis, and way more complicated. These are a little more fragile, I guess, than you know, it's you know, not an expensive machine, but this one was built quite robustly, as you can see by the circuits. We may have to do some work with the orange caps inside these, because they're notorious for failing early, and that could be some of the issues that may crop up later with this. So an ounce of prevention, I guess, will turn this into a fine deck again. So Aiwa WX220 double head deck. You can read reviews online. They say this is one of the better double head decks out there, despite the fact it's quite old, dating back to the early 80s, 82 to 84 certainly, because that's when I used to sell these overseas. And yeah, this is what she looks like now, and we'll put the top back on, and like I say, I'm going to do some more work on the bottom here and get it cleaned up nicely. So thank you for watching.